Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us tonight for MED-EL's Solutions for Hearing Loss. We've got you covered. This session is sponsored by MED-EL, and we are tonight with presenter Michael Douglas, who is the Consumer Engagement Program Manager for MED-EL. Michael is a speech-language pathologist and a certified auditory verbal therapist and has spent much of his career focusing on programs for children with hearing loss, and started with MED-EL back in 2016, I believe, right, Michael?
Correct, yes.
Before we get started, I just want to take a moment to thank our CART provider, who is Whitney Riley. Thank you again for providing captions tonight, Whitney. And I just want to tell you that if you have a question for Michael, he does have a lot of slides to get through, but we'll have plenty of time for questions. Just post your question where it says Q&A. Just click on Q&A and you can type your message right there. I may answer you by text, or it might be a question that we pose to Michael, in which case he'll answer, and all of that becomes part of our transcript. So thank you again for joining us tonight, and Michael, I'll let you get started.
Okay, thank you very much, and thank you everyone for joining me. I'm going to talk with you about MED-EL solutions for hearing loss tonight. But first, let's talk a little bit. I think I need to get control. There we go. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about MED-EL. Our mission is to overcome hearing loss as a barrier to communication and quality of life. And we effectively yet gently restore hearing by offering a comprehensive set of intact skin hearing implant solutions, thus providing best benefit to individuals with a hearing loss today, tomorrow, and worldwide. This is our CEO, Dr. Hochmeyer. She is the inventor of the world's first multi-channel cochlear implant and is our current CEO and chief engineer. There are some important dates in MED-EL's history that I'd like to go over with you. In 1975, the first implant in a human contained Hochmeyer technology, and it was developed by Erwin and Ingeborg Hochmeyer. Erwin is her husband. In 1977, the first two people were implanted with their multi-channel microelectrode, and then in 1989, MED-EL was founded. Dr. Kurt Burian from Vienna implanted the first microelectronic multi-channel cochlear implant in 1977. The fascinating point here is that the circuit you see in the upper right was actually wielded by Ingeborg herself. Connie is one of the very first patients ever implanted with a MED-EL cochlear implant and has been understanding speech without lip reading for nearly 40 years. And notice the 1979, the size of her audio processor on the left side of the slide with all of the multiple machines. And Connie now wears our off-the-ear processor, which I will tell you a little bit about in today's session. And Connie's story really demonstrates the commitment that we at MED-EL that we have in ensuring that we have a lifelong commitment to supporting our patients. We're also very proud that every audio processor, including the Sonnet and the Rondo 2, are 100% backwards compatible. This means that every single MED-EL patient can use the latest and greatest technology, and as we all know, audio processors change over time. It's the MED-EL philosophy that the most important thing to consider is what's implanted on the inside. We'll talk about that as well. MED-EL has come a long way from that first implant in 1977, and we're excited to continue to launch innovative hearing products that change people's lives, expanding our portfolio for different types of hearing loss, sensorineural, conductive, and even solutions for a mix of the two. This is a list of MED-EL's firsts, some of which we've already covered, but additional firsts include the first bilaterally implanted patient, the first MRI safe implant, the first combined EAS behind the ear processor, the first transcutaneous bone conduction implant, the first fully MRI safe cochlear implant, and the first no pressure bone conduction hearing aid. Many people think of MED-EL as a small company, but we are not. While we We're the last competitor on the market in the United States. We are actually in 118 countries around the globe, and here are the locations of Med-El offices and implantation sites worldwide. We're a very large company. Our headquarters is in Innsbruck, Austria, which continues to grow and building continues. Everything is controlled and put together in one place in headquarters at Innsbruck. With very strict quality control procedures. Our current implant, the Synchrony, is at 100% technical reliability, and we have never had an FDA-mandated recall. We recently opened our new building in Durham, North Carolina, where we distribute product to our customers in the United States. And this is the front reception area in the Med-El US headquarters in Durham, North Carolina, where we house a strong leadership team that consists of Ray Gamble, Darla Franz, Kim Jackson, and Carrie Resch, who continue to work with Innsbruck, Austria. We're proud of our leadership and the wealth of knowledge, experience, and passion they bring to this industry. Med-El's latest extended product portfolio covers a wide range of hearing losses and products appropriate for each type. And we will cover each of these in the following slides. Today, we will specifically go over our options for sensorineural hearing loss. We will list features and benefits of the Med-El's cochlear implant systems. We will review options for conductive and mixed hearing loss, and we will identify Med-El's support services. So let's start with options for sensorineural hearing loss. Med-El has two solutions for sensorineural hearing loss. But first, for those of you who are new to hearing loss, I'd like to briefly describe how hearing works and define sensorineural hearing loss. So here on the left, you see the outer auditory canal of the ear, and when sound enters that canal, it pushes those sound waves onto this membrane here called the tympanic membrane, which then pushes on these three tiny bones behind the membrane, which then push along this snail-shaped organ here you see called the cochlea. Inside that cochlea are tiny hair cells that are arranged like the keys in a piano from high frequencies up to low frequencies. And inside there as well is a small organ that with fluid, as it moves, it shears along those hair cells, much like when you are rubbing a balloon over your head and creating static in your hair. That electrical charge or distribution is then distributed into the auditory nerve, which you see behind the snail-shaped organ, the yellow line, and those transmissions are sent to the brain where we perceive those sounds and process them. Sensorineural hearing loss is a type of hearing loss in which the root cause lies in the snail-shaped organ called the cochlea. The outer and middle ear is normal, but something is impeding the transmission of sound inside the cochlea, such as damaged or missing hair cells. And when this happens, we can stimulate the auditory nerve through two types of cochlear implants depending on the hearing loss configuration. The Synchrony cochlear implant system and the Synchrony EAS system. Now here you see an audiogram, and this is what your audiologist uses to document your hearing loss. The numbers on the top vertical line represent the pitches we call hertz, which are important for hearing speech. The numbers on the left of that horizontal line represent very low pitches, graduating to higher and higher pitches as you move to the right. The numbers on the left vertical line are loudness that we call decibels, and starting at the top with soft sounds and moving down to the bottom with louder sounds. Normal hearing is considered between 0 and 25 decibels. A mild hearing loss is between 26 and 40 decibels. A moderate hearing loss is between 41 and 55 decibels. A moderate severe hearing loss is between 56 and 70 decibels. A severe hearing loss is considered between 71 to 90 decibels, and profound is considered at 91 decibels and up. If the audiologist draws two lines in any area of this red between 75 decibels average or higher, then you may be a candidate for a cochlear implant system. The cochlear implant systems have two parts. The internal component, which is surgically implanted into the skull with a set of electrodes that are threaded into the snail-shaped organ to replace the damaged or missing hair cells. The second part is the external component called the audio processor. The microphone on the processor receives sounds and converts them into electrical signals. then sends them through the wire, this wire number 2 here, then through the skin to the implant through FM waves. The implant converts these electrical signals into electrical pulses and sends the electrical pulses to the cochlea, which stimulates the auditory nerve, and the brain recognizes the signals as sound. For the EAS system, EAS stands for electrical acoustic system. And with that, we combine hearing aid technology with a cochlear implant. If your audiologist draws 2 lines close together within this yellow portion of the audiogram, and there are no malformations or obstructions of the cochlea, and you don't clearly understand speech with your hearing aids, you may be a candidate for this EAS system. And this system is approved for candidates 18 years of age and older. And this is how it works. The microphone in the audio processor detects low frequency sounds and high frequency sounds. The acoustic component are low frequency sounds, and it amplifies those low frequency sounds and sends them through the ear mold, much like a hearing aid, along the normal hearing pathway. The amplified sounds stimulate the small top part of the cochlea, which is number 3 in blue on this graph, which responds to low frequency sounds. The external microphone, the red part of it, receives mid and high frequency sounds and converts them into electrical signals. The implant, red number 2, converts these electrical signals into electrical pulses. And the electrode array sends the electrical pulses to the cochlea and stimulates the bottom portion of the cochlea, red number 3, and to help enhance hearing in the high frequencies. So those are our 2 options to restore hearing related to sensorineural hearing loss: the Synchrony system cochlear implant and the Synchrony EAS system. So now that we have reviewed those, those options for sensorineural hearing loss, I'd like to now list the features and benefits of our cochlear implant systems. The cochlear implant systems have many features and benefits to the user. And when thinking about getting a cochlear implant, Mandel believes that there are 3 overarching things to think about in order of importance from the bottom up: the internal component, the audio processor, and accessories. So let's first cover the internal component, called the Synchrony cochlear implant. And for an implant for an internal component or an implant to work well, we believe that 3 synergistic concepts Mandel refers to as triformants need to come together to provide the most natural hearing possible. And they are structure preservation, complete cochlear coverage, and fine hearing. I'll briefly tell you what each of them mean and why they matter. So when we talk about structure preservation, we are talking about protecting the delicate structures of the inner ear that are needed for hearing to occur. You have to remember that the size of the cochlea is the size of a baby aspirin, making it very delicate. So with a soft and bendy electrode array like the Synchrony array, we can reduce the insertion forces that are placed upon it during surgery and protect the structure of the cochlea. An intact cochlea increases the chances of maintaining any hearing that is left, which is important to maximize later speech discrimination performance. An intact cochlea also affords one better potential to take advantage of future technologies. Recall that the Med-El system has a magnet inside. It is likely that you will need an MRI in your life after implantation for many reasons. In other implant systems, the pull that is caused by the magnetic field during an MRI can cause pain and discomfort, or may result in the need for a surgery to remove the magnet. However, with the Med-El Synchrony's diametric magnet, it can align with the magnetic field of the MRI by rotating like a compass. Our implant is compatible with the new 3D MRI technology. That means that no matter what body position your scan requires, you can be rest assured that you can have a comfortable MRI experience. It does not require surgery. We have no reports of discomfort, and there's no hearing downtime because there's no surgery required to remove the magnet. To maintain the idea of structure preservation, everything is manufactured in one place in headquarters at Innsbruck, Austria, with very strict quality control procedures. Over the last 10 years, we have documented a proven design with no implant recalls, the highest MRI safety on the market, and reliable audio processors, which we will talk about in a minute. One more thing to consider about safety and structure preservation is electrical current. And sending electrical current into the cochlea has been proven to be safe overall, but there are some important details that must be considered to do it correctly over the many years a patient might listen with a cochlear implant. MED-EL is very conservative when it comes to safety. So inside the implant, we have special safety capacitors on each electrode. And these safety capacitors ensure that only the correct kind of electricity is delivered to the delicate cochlear tissue. If electrical current isn't carefully considered, the wrong kind of current can make its way to the electrode array, and that can have some concerning consequences over time. And not all brands have this feature, and it's an important one to look for, especially for parents, because your child will be using his or her implant for decades to come. And depending if you're a young adult, you will be using your implant for decades to come. So what does this mean for you? This means a great choice for structure preservation. It means future MRIs with no pain or hearing downtime. It means the potential to take advantage of future technologies and an ultimate peace of mind. The next component of Triformance is complete cochlear coverage. And when we talk about complete cochlear coverage, we're talking about an electrode array that is long enough to cover the bottom and the top portion of the cochlea. Much like this. Here you see the electrode array covering the bottom and top portion of the cochlea. You can also see where the pitches might be within the cochlea that the implant is stimulating. The MED-EL system has the longest electrode array on the market, which allows audiologists to stimulate the cochlea with pitches that match where the pitches are supposed to be. And it reduces the amount of adjustment time to the implant. It also allows surgeons to provide nearly 100% coverage of hearing potential for their patients during surgery. Because no two cochleas are the same, you could consider each of them to be like a fingerprint, each with their own length and duct size. MED-EL offers a wide portfolio of electrode lengths so the surgeon can provide complete cochlear coverage for each of their patients. What does this mean for you? This means with the longer electrode array stimulating the pitches where pitches were meant to be, results in more natural hearing. And this will help you hear better in background noise and a potentially quick adjustment period to the implant because you are theoretically hearing more naturally. When you preserve the structure and you provide complete cochlear coverage, you can only then take advantage of our next component of Triformance called fine hearing. And fine hearing coding strategy for MED-EL is the only one on the market that deliberately adds information in the low frequencies. And this allows the recipient to benefit from both elements of sound, the envelope and the fine structure. The envelope of sound is essential for speech understanding and is found in the bottom and mid portion of the cochlea. And the fine structure enhances pitch and sound quality and is found in the top part of the cochlea. When we add both elements of sound, adults describe their listening experience to be richer, more full, and clearer, much like the details of this color photograph compared to this photograph, which might be more representative of one element of sound. So what does this mean for you? This means further closer to natural hearing, better hearing and quiet and background noise, and a better potential to learn to enjoy music again because you're getting a richer stimulation of the lower frequencies and a wider dynamic range. MED-EL's cochlear implant system can stimulate hearing to as low as 70 hertz, and that's the lowest on the market. So in review, with the concept of Triformance, the MED-EL system can provide the closest to natural hearing possible, resulting in superior performance in quiet, noise, and music appreciation. Now, the internal component is the basis for the successful use of the other parts of the implant system. So the next one to consider are the auditory processors. And we'll start with the Sonnet and the Rondo 2. The Sonnet is the behind-the-ear processor, and for those who wear glasses or are more concerned with discretion, the Rondo 2 is an off-the-ear processor option. The Sonnet EAS system combines hearing aid technology with cochlear implant technology and offers all the same features and benefits as the Sonnet. These auditory processors are special because they're designed for ease of use. They are meant to be put on and go. With the Sonnet, you simply pull the battery sleeve down and put it back up to turn the implant off and on, then put it on your head and go. It has the option of disposable batteries or rechargeable batteries. The Rondo 2 is the off-the-ear processor, and it has a completely integrated rechargeable battery. It sits on a charging pad to charge. Then all you have to do is press the button in the middle to turn it on, put it on your head, and go. Everything done to manage the sound in the environment is done automatically. Microphone directionality, wind noise reduction, and volume control. If the listener wants to make any adjustments, they have a remote control that can do that, although most patients find they don't use it a lot. So what does this mean for you? This means ease of use with your processor. You put it on and go. You don't need a lot of manual dexterity to manipulate the implant. It means savings in batteries with rechargeable battery options, and it means discrete wearing options are available for those who want to hide the implant in their hair. So now we've covered in order of importance the internal component, the auditory processors. Let's now discuss the last thing to consider, something that is always changing and improving, the accessories. And today, I will cover accessories for connectivity, such as the Rogers system, and accessories that complement active lifestyles, such as water wear and active wear. So with our multifunction wireless Rogers system, which additional purchase for this is not necessary when you choose MED-EL, adults and children can get connected to hear better in a variety of challenging listening environments. With the Rogers system, you can get a clearer signal in noisy classrooms. You can hear the one speaking at a distance at business meetings. You can talk hands-free on the phone and connect to televisions and or tablets. Water wear can be used in fresh, salt, and chlorinated water. Water wear is reusable, quick to attach, and gives you the freedom to enjoy all the activities that you love in the water. With our active wearing options, you can take some or all of the weight off of your ear, giving you added comfort. It's easy to attach and allows Sonnet to be clipped to your clothing to keep it safe and secure as you go about enjoying your active lifestyle. So what does this mean for you? This means enhanced performance in challenging environments and options for that. It means staying connected by streaming phone calls and TVs through your processor. And it means that you can maintain your active lifestyle even while hearing with your cochlear implant. So these are the three components we believe to be in order of importance from the foundation of the pyramid up when considering a cochlear implant system: the internal component, the audio processor, and accessories. And these are all supported with an unparalleled 24 hours, 365 days a year customer service and audiology support. We are the only company on the market that offers that level of support. We also have a reimbursement department that will work with your insurance company to provide you a 3-month supply of batteries every 3 months, disposable batteries. So now that we've reviewed the options for sensorineural hearing loss, the features and benefits of MED-EL's cochlear implant systems, I'd like to review our new options for conductive and mixed hearing loss. But first, and we have 2 options for conductive and mixed hearing loss. But before I go over those, I'd like to define bone conductive hearing loss and mixed hearing loss. A conductive hearing loss is a type of hearing loss where the transmission of sound is impeded anywhere from the outer ear to the middle ear as it tries to reach the inner ear. The inner ear is normal, but something is impeding the transmission of sound along the typical path. And when this happens, we can vibrate the bone to stimulate the inner ear. Sometimes the inner ear is also affected for a variety of reasons. And when this is present with a conductive loss, we describe this as a mixed hearing loss. And Med-El has two devices that can vibrate the bone depending on the severity of the condition. For a more mild conductive loss, Med-El has a non-surgical option called the Adhere. The option for a more moderate to severe conductive or mixed loss, Med-El offers the bone bridge. With the conductive loss, the audiogram may look like this one. You can see the red marks in the area that is considered normal. Those are the responses to vibrating the patient's bone at the different pitches on the left ear, while the left ear through the typical path we call air conduction is showing a hearing loss. This gap in bone conduction versus air conduction is referred to as an air-bone gap. And the difference between the air and the bone line is used to determine the level of conductive hearing loss. For this level of conductive hearing loss, the patient may be a candidate for the bone bridge. The bone bridge is approved for the conductive and mixed conditions, and this slide demonstrates the candidacy criteria for the conductive mixed hearing loss condition. We're looking for candidates with sensorineural hearing levels at 45 dB or better and over 12 years of age. The anatomy needs to be suitable for placement of the implant, and that's determined by a CAT scan. With the bone bridge device in the single-sided deafness condition, we're looking at patients over 12 years of age and anatomy that allows for appropriate placement of the device, which is determined by the CAT scan. And the opposite ear could have air conduction thresholds within normal limits and the affected ear below 70 decibels. Here's how it works. The mechanical transducer is integrated into the implant and is placed completely under the skin. The audio processor communicates with the implant under the skin via a magnet, and there's no harmful pressure. So the skin above the implant can remain completely healthy. The magnet is approved for 1.5 Tesla if the patient ever needs an MRI. The audio processor is called the Samba, and it's held over the implant through light magnetic attraction, and it offers the latest signal processing, directional microphone technology, and 5 programs so you can get the most out of many listening situations. And here you can see the efficacy of the bone bridge compared to and without hearing aids and with conventional hearing aids. The bone bridge allowed the patients on the far right to have statistically superior speech understanding over the use of conventional hearing aids and highly statistically significant improvement over no amplification at all. Bone bridge has been used worldwide and in Canada for some time now. However, the FDA has just approved this product in the United States in the summer of 2018. We're very excited to offer this hearing solution to patients here in the United States that are 12 years of age and older. For a less severe hearing loss or less severe bone conductive hearing loss, Med-El offers the Adhere bone conduction system. And with the Adhere device, we're looking at patients that have bone conduction thresholds in the range of -10 to 25 decibels. With the Adhere device in the single-sided condition, the single-sided deafness condition, we are looking at patients that have bone conduction thresholds in the range of -10 to 25 decibels in the contralateral ear and in the severe to profound range for the affected ear. With the Adhere device, it consists of the Adhere adhesive adapter and the Adhere audio processor. The adhesive adapter is placed on the hairless portion of the bone behind the ear and can be worn 3 to 7 days. The audio processor snaps onto the adhesive adapter, picks up sound through its microphone, and vibrates the bone to allow sound to stimulate the inner ear. And here you can see the performance of the Adhere on the far right compared to the unaided condition on the far left, and compared to other options on the market who use a headband to transmit the sound. Bone conduction devices placed on a headband tend to not only be cosmetically unappealing, they are also uncomfortable. So recipients often move them around a lot to relieve the pressure discomfort, making the sound level inconsistent. And many children eventually just stop wearing them. The Adhere offers comparable performance to other options on the market and is a safe and effective way to enhance conductive hearing loss. Overall, Adhere is a simple, easy to use, easy to dispense, non-surgical bone conduction solution. It is comfortable to wear without pressure on the skin, with a high wearing comfort for our users. And it's reliable. It stays in the consistent optimal position and offers, as a result, a consistent access to sound. It's cosmetically appealing, placed as it is. It's in an inconspicuous position behind the ear, and it doesn't require the use of a softband. We believe Adhere users enjoy this technology, and they will enjoy this technology because they'll have the breathing room to make surgical decisions when the time is right for them. So there you have it. MED-EL's latest extended product portfolio safely and effectively covers a wide range of hearing losses and products appropriate for each type. And these include the Synchrony EAS, the Bone Bridge, and the Adhere. So far we have reviewed options for sensorineural hearing loss. We've listed the features and benefits of MED-EL's cochlear implant systems. We've reviewed options for conductive and mixed hearing loss, and now I'd like to identify MED-EL's support services. We offer a range of support to our customers. Our CEO, Ray Gamble, believes in ongoing continuous support for our recipients. In addition to 24 hours, 365 days a year in-house audiological support and customer service, he and his team have also arranged a web shop where recipients can purchase online by credit card, implant system accessories, and order spare parts and batteries. We have a team of highly qualified and compassionate engagement managers who can provide information counseling and support to candidates and recipients throughout their journey towards better hearing. And they also have a way to do this through their comprehensive rehabilitation support program, which consists of materials, digital resources, and events. For materials, we have rehab materials for purchase and free downloads for the US and Canada online through our Bridge store at www.medel-bridge.com. And we have materials for children, teens, and adults. For those who prefer to learn about rehab through groups in their community, we offer a variety of events and experiences in English and in Spanish. And you can find out if any of these events are in your area by checking our MED-EL Facebook page. And finally, we have a growing and vibrant community of MED-EL hearing technology users, their supporters, and caregivers who actively engage, encourage, and mentor others at all steps along the journey to better hearing. When a candidate becomes a MED-EL user, they can join this program, hear peers, meet and mingle with others like them, and stay in the know on certain topics that may enhance their re-up or sense of self. So that's it for today. We have reviewed options for sensorineural hearing loss. We have listed features and benefits of MED-EL's cochlear implant systems. We've reviewed options for conductive and mixed hearing loss, and we've identified MED-EL's support services. If you'd like to find out more, we would love to talk with you. You can call the number listed here, 1-888-MED-EL-CI, or you can contact us at medel.com, www.medel.com. So in closing, as you've seen today, we provide a comprehensive set of intact skin solutions that are gentle and effective for patients with conductive, mixed, or sensorineural hearing loss. No matter the audiogram, we've got you covered. And so now, Nancy, we can open it up for questions.
Okay, wonderful. That was very informative. Thank you so much. I didn't realize, I guess, how many different products that MED-EL has on the market, so that was very informative. The first question comes in from Tony in Michigan. He says, with the EAS system, are there electrodes that handle the low frequencies but just not enabled? Thus, if the hearing aid portion is no longer providing help, the low frequencies can then be handled by the implant?
That is correct. They can, no new surgery is required. They can adjust the mapping to provide the full range of frequencies important for understanding speech.
So then after the implantation surgery, is there an image taken to make sure the electrode array did not fold during insertion?
That is usually a procedure that is followed in the hospitals by surgeons. However, there have been some studies that have compared the rate of fold over between companies and Medel, because of its straight electrode, it's not pre-coiled, it has almost zero incidences of tip fold over.
Okay. Vicki from Colorado Springs chapter of HLAA said, is it the electrode diameter that allows structure preservation, and or is it the depth of the electrode insertion?
What allows for structure preservation is the place where the electrodes are inserted and the design of the cochlear implant itself. So the implant, the internal component, is inserted along the lateral wall of the cochlea, and this steers it clear from the fragile, bony, and vascular system of the center part of the cochlea. And it is also designed with soft, bendy wires and electrodes that are spaced far apart. And this allows it to be more noodle-like and bendy, so it can kind of move and groove along the curves of the cochlea.
Okay. Vicki also asked, and how long does it take to adjust to the way an implant sounds? I was told that I have only to practice 15 minutes per day for auditory retraining. And can you give an example of what those exercises are?
So the time that it will take for one to adjust to the implant will depend on a variety of factors, depending on how long you've been deaf, why you have your hearing loss, things like that. Some of the exercises might at first go through just recognizing that you hear sound, that you're actually perceiving sound in terms of audibility, that you can hear it, and then later moving into some single words and sentences. For adults, rehab is 4 parts. It's device instruction, learning how to use the implant. It's the perceptual training where you're relearning how to listen. And then it's comprised of some counseling that might give you some strategies and tools to help you compensate while you adjust to the implant.
Are those trainings done through the bridge system, or is that?
We have some materials that you can purchase. One is called Here at Home, and we also have some CDs called Listen Up. Sometimes speech language pathologists at the hospital might be available to go through those materials with you, or there's also online programs that are available where you can do them, you can practice yourself.
Okay, and then do you provide a list of those websites, or how does somebody find those?
If you email me, I will be happy to give you some suggestions. It's michael.douglas@medel.com.
Okay, great. Is there a smartphone app that can be used with your devices to make adjustments? If so, what control does that give me?
So right now we have the fine tuner, and it is a remote control that helps you adjust the volume. It can help you change programs. It can help you change the sensitivity, or how much information you want to take close to you or further away from you. And it can also help you switch to telecoil if you need to do that for answering phones or joining services at church. So right now we have the fine tuner.
Okay. I guess going along with that, does the Medel implant have access to the Apple iPhone devices? I mean,
Yes, through the Roger pin, through the Roger system, we have the Roger pin, and then a small sleeve is attached to the back of the sonnet, and it through the iPhone is sent through the Roger pin, which then sends the signal to the audio processor.
okay. Chris would like to know, aside from a sleeker look and rechargeable batteries, what are the differences in the Rondo 2 from the Rondo?
Aside from the rechargeable battery and the sleeker look, there's a new microphone on it. You can change the microphone covers. The microphone on the Rondo before had a little microphone cover that would often break off easily, and that is no longer there. So that won't be a problem. And let's see, what else might be another difference that I can think of off the top of my head? Oh, the turning it on and off is really easy. You just press the button, put it on and go.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mari,
lots of options for covers. It can look like your hair, it can stand out or blend in. Yeah.
okay. Mari would like to know, how many electrodes are in the wire that's inserted?
There are 12 electrodes with 24 contacts.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And what they do is when they stimulate sound, they create an energy in between them that creates an extra pitch percept in between them.
okay.
That might have confused things. I don't know.
I'm sure he'll ask another question if so. Um, Joyce Miller would like to know. She said, "I just ordered a Rondo 2 upgrade. What is the difference between synchrony and non-synchrony implant? I was told I have non-synchrony, but you only talked about the synchrony."
Right. So the Synchrony is our latest cochlear implant that is being implanted right now. If you have a previous generation implant, the differences might be, depending on which one you have, might be the level of MRI compatibility. So Synchrony is 3.0 Tesla. Without magnet removal, some of the previous generations are 1.5 Tesla.
Okay. Mo says, he asks, "I understand music enjoyment takes longer to be realistic than speech. Is this the case with Med-El, or does Med-El have any advantages when it comes to listening to music?"
Yeah, I think that also is going to be dependent upon many factors, like the time that you've been away from music, or maybe even how you remember music to be. It will sound different at first, but what the literature is showing us is that over time and with practice, it can potentially get better. Um, Taking up to a year or more, we still see continued improvement.
Okay. Elizabeth said, "This is really great. My son has sensorineural loss that does not currently require correction. However, he has some trouble with speech. At what point do you feel correction should be entertained if speech is an issue?"
And can you help me understand what you mean by correction? Are you talking about hearing, enhancing the hearing level, or correcting speech?
Um, Elizabeth, if you could just give a little bit more information. I kind of read that as being at what point, maybe, well, I don't know. Let's see if she'll answer real quick.
Okay.
Um, she says both would be great.
Oh, answering both. Okay, so with when the hearing loss level gets to be 70 decibels or worse, they may be considered a cochlear implant candidate. And if you look at the speech and language development, if the speech language pathologist is finding a delay and they are missing more than 60% of what they're hearing, they might be considered a cochlear implant candidate. Speech correction is typically done in children age 4 and above, because it's at that time in their lives, usually when their language is good enough to receive instruction and talk about language.
Okay. Neil said, "Could you review the difference between the two types of synchrony systems again?"
Sure. Um, we have the Synchrony cochlear implant system, and we have the Synchrony EAS system. The Synchrony cochlear implant system is for those with a severe to profound hearing loss where enhancement of the hearing is not effective with the use of hearing aids. The Synchrony EAS system combines hearing aid technology with cochlear implant technology, and the hearing loss might be less severe in the low frequencies and more severe to profound in the higher frequencies. And in those cases, they might be able to, because the electrode arrays are so soft and bendy, it increases the surgeon's chance of preserving the structure, allowing the patient to benefit from the hearing aid component of the implant. And in our studies, you can look on the FDA website, over 90%, 92% of the participants were able to benefit from the hearing aid component and maintain a lot of that over time.
Mm-hmm. That's so important to preserve what hearing is there. Um, we're seeing more and more research on hair cell regeneration and so forth. So that's really, really a great benefit.
It really is. It helps you maximize what hearing you do have, and it makes a huge difference there. And it does help you have more potential to benefit from future technologies like that.
Absolutely. This almost seems like a silly question, but it's not, because what is the implant part made of or coated with?
Ooh, may have stumped me on that one, but I believe it's a titanium casing, and then there's a silicone cytoelastic casing around some other parts as well.
Okay, and I guess all of those materials would be kind of like a hypoallergenic. You wouldn't have any type of, your body's not going to have any kind of reaction to that implant once it's implanted, right?
Right. Well, they've been approved by the FDA to be considered safe and effective. Now, while that occurs, while that has happened, there still could be a chance of someone reacting to it, but that would definitely be a conversation with the surgeon and the hospital about the risk of that for each individual patient.
Okay. Mo said, I understand the initial cost of a cochlear implant is covered by Medicare and possibly your own insurance. Do you know if any upgrades are necessary, if necessary, will also be covered?
So what we're finding, or in my experience, what I'm seeing is about every 5 years, insurance companies are allowing eligibility for an upgrade.
Okay, and is that typical? I mean, we hear like your hearing aids might last you 3 or 4 years. Is 5 years kind of the average length of time before you need an upgrade?
It seems like that's kind of what happens on the market when new product is available about that time. Yeah.
Okay. Mari asks, bone conduction may have a lot of sound damping. I don't know if I've heard that term before. Is that a problem for high notes for these systems?
Now the Adhere is not a high power system. So from what I understand, and I'm not an audiologist, so if you'd like to go deeper into this, I encourage you to contact me and I can get you in contact with a Med-El audiologist in your area that can discuss that more. So the Adhere system is not a high powered system, and it does have a little roll off in the high frequencies. So it's important to talk with your audiologist and determine if it's the right fit for you. The Adhere system, what's great about it is that each clinic that offers it or distributes it has a demo system that you can try right there and see if it works, if it's the right hearing aid for you. Now with the bone conduction, with the completely implantable one, that one, it's very new on the market, and like I said, I'm not an audiologist, so I would definitely defer that to if you want to know more about it, I can get you in contact with one of our clinical audiologists.
Okay, fair enough. Going back to the fine tune app, is there a cost for that?
For the fine tuner, the remote control,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
that is part of the kit that you receive with your implant.
Okay. Um, Chris says, my daughter was told today that Medicare will cover an upgrade and she will be able to keep the model she has now and will not have to trade it in. She also was told that Medicare now will cover 2 implants where before they would only pay for 1.
Great news.
Yeah, it is great news.
Yeah.
Moving in the right direction, Medicare.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
um, let's see. I think I have all the questions. I think I've gone through them all. If anybody has another one, now's the time to post it. This has been so informative, and I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're busy with travel here and there and everywhere. Oh, there's one more question. Mo said, I'm 83 and I have had hearing loss for more than 20 years with a continual gradual loss. Should an individual such as myself see a specialist in audiologist in audiology?
And absolutely, we are seeing lots of benefit for people in your generation that receive cochlear implants. It increases quality of life, can maintains your connection with others, and it helps you stay you. So I highly encourage you to go see a cochlear implant audiologist.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. In fact, I had somebody write to me the other day and said that she's only 77 and had a bone anchored device implanted and it became infected, so that they had to remove it. She doesn't really benefit from hearing aids any longer, and she's just kind of gun shy about going to see an audiologist or be considered for a CI. I told her to go for it, but I don't know that she will.
Okay.
There's no harm in at least going for an evaluation
Absolutely.
to see, but I can certainly understand why she's reluctant. But we'll see.
Well, the if she had a bone anchored hearing aid, she may be a candidate for the bone bridge, completely skin intact cochlear implant. We do see lots of incidences of, or we hear lots of reports of infection with the bone anchored type hearing aids, and so for those that have that, the bone bridge may be a better option for them, and it would definitely be worth being evaluated by an audiologist in a center that can provide that. She can look on medel.com, or she can contact me and I can get her in contact with the right center.
I will definitely follow up with her to let her know that. Let's see. Please share with listeners that an upgrade merely means the external part will change and will not mean another surgery. Good point.
No need to say any more. You're absolutely
right. So when you started out, you were saying that they're 100% backward compatible. So that's what that means, where the newer processor, the external part, can be, upgraded and upgraded again, correct?
right. No additional surgery needed to receive the latest processor.
Okay.
That has been an important aspect of Ingeborg's design of the implants from the very beginning.
I think that's amazing.
Amazing.
I don't, yeah, it's too bad computers don't do that same thing.
Yeah.
Would it ever come to be that you would have to upgrade the internal part? I mean, Tony wants to know if a person could benefit from an internal component change.
Yes, sometimes while our Synchrony implant system has 100% technical reliability, sometimes life can get in the way. We can have illnesses or injuries that may damage the internal component and cause it to become faulty or not work as well as it was before. And in those cases, we call it a revision surgery may be necessary.
Okay.
They're very rare, though. If you look on our website, we have a really good reliability report to consider.
Okay. Mo said, I am the person that asked about music. I probably should have said that I've been a music teacher for 33 years and I'm a classically trained musician and I'm concerned about losing my appreciation for music. Such a big decision. Yet
Yeah.
I can't hear very well in a crowded environment either, so it's a choice I've had to make, music or speech. It's not really a choice between the two, right?
Well, I think know that a cochlear implant has the potential to drastically change your life and keep you connected with others, get your life back. And if you're a classically music trained musician, I would love to get you in contact with some people who are like you, and you can chat with them about their experiences with the MED-EL device. I will say that if you decide to go with a cochlear implant, I hope you do. Just know going into it that the same techniques that you use to train yourself on music and to train others on music, you would benefit greatly from continued practice and some tenacity there.
Mm-hmm. And Mo says that his hearing loss is profound, so I can't imagine that a cochlear implant wouldn't be, I think he would be well off to do that, it seems.
Yes, and if music is important to you, there were some really interesting studies that were done where people that got MED-EL that were MED-EL users. How do I describe this? There were two studies. There was one very interesting studies. One where they were contralaterally implanted with a MED-EL device and a competitor device. And then there were 5 of them there, and there were 15 in the other group where they did that. And I'm not sure why you would want to do that, but that's what they agreed to do. And they were asked to rate their perception of different aspects of music, and which one they preferred. And in each of the studies, 4 of the 5 persons preferred the MED-EL device over the competitor device in certain aspects of music and in terms of the quality of the sound.
Wow, that's impressive.
And I think it's because of the features that I went over with Triformance, preserving the structure, the length of the electrode, and adding that fine structure to the coding strategy that enhances pitch and sound quality.
Mm-hmm. If any of you are attending our convention next week, on Wednesday, the group known as Adults with Hearing Loss, Adult Musicians with Hearing Loss, I believe is the name, are hosting an open mic night. And you'll meet lots of musicians there that wear hearing aids and or cochlear implants. And Michael, if you can send anybody my way that might like to present a webinar about music appreciation with a cochlear implant, I think that would be a really interesting topic and very popular as well.
Well, we have an in-house musicologist. Her name is Joanna Potzold. She just got married. I can't remember her new last name, but she is a unilateral MED-EL user and a musician herself. And I think that I would love to get her in contact with you.
Absolutely. That would be great. I would really appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a lot of other people that come to mind. So Mo, email me and I can try to put you in touch with some of those musicians that really can appreciate music once again with their cochlear implant. I see we're almost out of time, and so and I believe I've answered everybody's questions too. So thank you everybody for tuning in tonight. This was really great, Michael. Very informative, and this will be posted on our website just as soon as I can, in light of our crazy office at the moment, getting ready for our convention next week.
Sounds great.
So thank you very much again. I really appreciate it. And again, thank you, Whitney, for providing captions tonight. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. We will not be back in June with our regular educational webinar, but I'll be back in July with an educational webinar on research. So tune in. All right. Thanks again, Michael. Good night, everybody.
Bye-bye.